To finish up the components for this leaf lettuce salad that we're going to serve with sauteed vegetables over it, we need to make the dressing and some homemade croutons. So this is my version of ranch dressing, but it's vegan and it's gluten-free. Does it taste like ranch dressing? Well, I don't know, because I haven't had ranch dressing in 25 years. So to me, it reminds me of ranch dressing.
The texture.
Yes, I've taught this in classes before where the students have said this was their favorite recipe in the whole class, and they would have come to the class just to learn how to make this. The last class I taught, where I taught this, the lady actually said she liked this better than ranch dressing, so that was a nice compliment. All right, the first ingredient is 1 cup of dairy-free, sugar-free Vegenaise. This is just my favorite product. I love using it because it gives you the illusion of using mayonnaise. To make my version of ranch dressing, I'm going to put 1 tablespoon of brown rice vinegar. There's no reason really to write down the recipe because the recipe is right there
On your
for you on your piece of paper. Yeah. 1 tablespoon of brown rice vinegar. Thank you, Jane. Yes, page 4. 1 tablespoon of lemon juice. Yep, half a teaspoon of ume plum paste. So this would be the interesting ingredient that maybe you're not familiar with. This is when they naturally ferment the umeboshi plums. And this is salty, pungent, sour, bitter, and sweet. This is all 5 flavors in one thing. The reason why I put it in the dressing is because it imparts a tremendous amount of flavor, even though it's only a half a teaspoon. But it also has really strong preservative qualities. So whenever you make something and you put ume plum paste in it, the ranch dressing that you're making, you can leave in the refrigerator for probably 2 months.
Really?
And it's not going to go bad, which is totally awesome. And then we have 2 teaspoons of tarragon. So when you get ranch dressing, a lot of times you notice there's little green things in it. So it's tarragon that they're using. And then you just very simply whisk this together, like so.
That makes a nice dip too.
This is an excellent dip, salad dressing. Yeah, this is great. Cucumbers dipped in it. It's fantastic. See how easy that was? You just stick this in the refrigerator, you got your ranch dressing to go. And we're going to serve it over this salad. Now let's make some homemade croutons. Croutons are crunchy little pieces of bread that have been fried in oil. That's what croutons are. So let's take a pan. Which pan do we want to use? Let's use this one. Take some toasted sesame oil, and you want a generous amount, because that bread is going to go and soak it up, okay? So we got a generous amount of toasted sesame oil in there.
1/4 cup.
It's not traditional.
Yeah, it
More like a
yeah, might be a 1/4 cup.
third.
Yeah, heat a generous amount of toasted sesame oil in a saute pan. That's what it says. Heat a generous amount of toasted sesame oil in a saute pan. Remember, croutons are fried bread. That's
You don't
what
want them every day.
No, so this is a special occasion.
Yeah.
I am going to use Ezekiel sprouted whole grain bread. So this comes when they take the grains, they sprout them, and then they make bread. A lot of people that have problems with flour, digesting flour, do really well on sprouted grain bread. This is not gluten-free, however. It does have sprouted wheat berries. Have you had this bread before?
I had
Yeah.
that.
Oh, I love this bread.
Without salt. There is no salt, right? There is no salt.
One time someone accidentally bought Ezekiel no salt bread, and they didn't want it, so they asked me if I wanted it. I thought, sure, well, I'll do something with it. I have never tasted such bad tasting bread before in my life. The purpose of salt is to impart flavor. That was the worst tasting bread I've ever had because it was saltless Ezekiel bread. All right, so we place the heat in the oil, sprinkle a little tamari over the bread. So we want the bread to be salty, right? So we're just gonna go like this. Just a couple little dots. And you could also, after the bread is fried, you could sprinkle sea salt on it and skip this process. But that's up to you. So, and then I'm gonna cut the bread in half, like so. And then what I'm gonna do in the oil, put the bread in the oil like this, and it's gonna go psss, and it's gonna sizzle, and it's gonna fry the bread, and then I'm gonna flip the bread over and fry it on the other side, and it's gonna become crispy. And then I'm gonna take it out of the oil, I'm gonna let it cool so we don't burn our fingers, and then afterwards we're just gonna break the pieces off, and you'll have pieces of,
Or you could cut them in squares if you want.
or you could cut them in squares, but it's kind of easier to just break them, because it's gonna be crispy. It's gonna be
I've never
crispy
had it
croutons.
that way.
Have you had croutons before?
Yes,
You know,
but not that
What
way.
is a traditional food in our country? Like that salad. That was the pita bread.
And with pita.
Pita
bread.
bread, we cut it.
Pita bread, yeah.
We cut it square
Yeah.
and square
Fatouche,
fork.
it's in fatouche salad,
Yeah.
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Alright, I have to wait for the oil to get hot, so let's go on a break. You gotta wait for the oil to